funding, not our splost, because there's more equipment that the departments need, as in trucks. So this is why we come before y'all on that, and just like, last meeting, y'all talked about, it's a big decision money-wise and stuff, so I sat down with Don a lot, and he can explain that if y'all want him to, and, we get through. Onto the fire station that we've talked about, I think there was some confusion. That has nothing to do with the ARPA funding. And it will not. That's nothing that we're gonna try to get this and y'all approve it. We get the training center, and then next year we come back and say, hey, we wanna put a fire station up. Can we use that funding? That's not the intent. The only thing we're asking from this funding is the training center to put over there. The maintenance, as far as the lights and water and everything, the bill would be out of our monthly checks that we get every month. We'll take care of that. The maintenance, anything that tears up, we'll do ourselves. If we can't, we'll find somebody and do like we do now and pay for it out of our monthly funds and the upkeep around the property. Just like the footers and everything. But I think Chief Ross, he was here. He's over the Chief Association. We brought it before them. Every department was present. Up at New Salem, we brought it before and asked if anybody had any concerns or objections, that didn't like the idea. There was none. Several said that's a good idea, especially if we can use that funding, because we'd like to keep our splosh for trucks and other equipment. Chief, would you like to say anything?
You very well covered it, right? Okay. Like you said, all the departments agreed to it, or okay with it. But we've got 3 or 4 departments that are in need of trucks. I won't say trucks, because that sounds ugly when you say trucks. And it's gonna be difficult even with their new splash. Like where I put some of our money back in the old splash because I knew this was coming up. And, I know y'all don't deal in fire trucks, y'all have no idea how expensive they are, but they are very expensive.
We do, because we bought every one we got, so
Well,
trust me, we know how expensive they are. So,
Say from now.
Yeah.
Because it's,
yeah.
Try it. There it is, got a green one, it's going. But yeah, that's, like I say, all the departments are, it is a benefit to get a training center. And really would appreciate y'all's consideration on it, 'cause
So it was 100%, all departments supported, everybody. Okay.
But y'all do need trucks,
yes, sir.
tankers or
Some
what?
do.
Pumpers?
Tankers,
or
I've got
what?
2 tankers up there at our hall that would do better for watering gardens, because that's how bad they're leaking, and they're not really too safe to be driving. We've had them a long time. So rather than try to replace both of them, we'd just like to get one good one
Y'all are not the only department that needs
No.
trucks.
that's about
Can we
full up.
use ARP for trucks?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was my question. I talked to Ansel first, and then, because I thought there was only about 400,000 or 500,000 left in ARP, and he said he thought there was more like 900. And after I talked to you, there was 1.2, but 300, and I'm using rough numbers, 300,000 of it has already been committed for, yeah, wasn't heard for. And, an average fire truck, what did you tell me would probably be the,
Average one probably is gonna be 350,000.
yeah.
I mean,
so-
that's just, and that's not bells and whistles, which, me personally, I'm not after bells and whistles. I don't put out fires.
And I talked to Rodney, and I've told Ansel the same thing. I think I talked to Ted and Dawn. We don't have money for both, I don't feel like. And I think, and it's y'all's choice, but we need y'all to come up with which one's most important, the new trucks or the,
Because you're saying the splosh wouldn't cover it, that's what I understood the other day, we was talking, And so you're gonna have to get into the ARPA money to do that, to put with the trucks, you know.
Unless
Pretty
we
much what-
find some miracle deal out
I don't know whether or not what that'd be, yeah.
But you're talking about 75,000 extra on to your at
Probably.
least.
Would be at least, I mean,
And so the cost of the training center would be just about same amount of money.
I don't know, I'm not.
Let me, intervene here for a second.
And I'm just saying, when I found out, I'm not saying I'm for it.
We,
Everybody's for it.
Oh, I know. What I want to talk about is the trucks, and y'all know as well as I do that I know New Salem needs they want to call it a tanker, but we don't. The commission needs to oversee that. We don't need to buy tankers. We need to buy tankers with pumps on them that the ISO will recognize, with at least 1,250 gallons a minute pump on them. And that's what you gotta have. So when y'all do address this, we need to keep that in mind, not just go ahead and buy a truck that can haul water. It's gotta be, you know, you don't get any points for it. So, and we've got, and I think y'all got some that's on the edge of it. I know Rodney's tankers that he's got now can't come off the mountain because they're in bad shape, so. But I just want to, you know, tell y'all that and
So what's the difference in the price of the one you're talking about and the one he's talking about?
What do you think? I mean, that's,
did yours have a tanker now?
that, I think that one may have went up to, it was either 375 or 400,000 with that kind of pump on it.
So another 50,000.
But I think we're gonna use SPOS money to buy them, so,
That's our goal.
yeah. And it might be that we could do and this is later on, look at maybe a lease purchase situation where we could do it that way. Because not everybody needs one. I know there's quite a few. that do.
How soon, like, if you were to purchase it, how soon does it come in? Because I know that that's an
Usually take
issue.
about a year or longer to get them.
Yeah.
That's the thing,
They're like everything else, they're way behind.
because they build these from the ground up.
And are you, New Salem, gonna be all right waiting that long?
Well, we ain't got no choice.
Yeah, you can't get-
We got other
Somebody
departments,
dies,
you know,
then what we
helping
gonna
out.
get?
You can't, they won't speed the process up, they just, you know, I don't know, I know Walker County ordered some trucks and Alex.
Well, I can tell you where I work, it's an 18-month from the time they order to the time
Right,
we get it. But now our county orders 4 every year, no matter what. So they're kind of put into that situation.
Walker just bought 3, and it's 18 to 20 months. They're
Yeah.
still on service.
so that's something we can look at in the future, you know, or we all can look in the future, but I really think that the training center is something that's gonna really benefit everybody.
Well, it sounds like it needs to be more than the future. It needs to be sooner.
Well, like I say, it's, like you said, 18, 20 months to order these things, and that's no guarantee they'll get them then. They're just so, they're actually so high now that it's ridiculous.
Gonna get higher.
And they're gonna,
Yeah.
like everything else, they're gonna keep going
Yeah.
up. But I think maybe
And it's not
we could look at that in the future, something we can all work on and maybe, and go to one manufacturer instead of 4 or 5 different ones, like Rodney does. He can check on it and everybody get the same unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure on that, don't get one of each kind, we don't need to do that anymore, I mean, you know, for Billy's sake and them down there, yeah.
And like I say, you could there's a lot of stuff you could knock off. The whistles and bells you don't have to have on those trucks, so.
Yeah.
And I know Rodney's been doing some research on them, I have, so we all have, but like I say, I think right now, the training center will be that's up to y'all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Hartline, you got anything else, questions you wanna ask, or?
The only thing I want to add is, we've got 275 in splosh to each fire department. And the way y'all broke this up for this training center, it's 48,000 per department. You know, broke up into 9 departments, but right now, we've got 4 other building projects going on at the time. Knowing that y'all need trucks, my personal opinion, I would prefer to do the trucks than the training center at this time.
You'd rather prefer to?
I would rather look towards trucks than the training center.
Lamar, I know you've come, let's go around, we're not voting, we'll just get opinions like I always do.
Well, we need both, but I have to agree with Philip. I think the trucks are something we can't do without. And I'm not in y'all's position to know as well as y'all know, but I've called 3 of the fire chiefs and I need to get your phone number, Tim, before I. Yeah, 'cause I try to, when I get into something like this, I like to call and talk to every chief. I don't have yours, and, I got new homes, but I don't have, all right, yeah, that way when we have something like this coming, I can call directly, because I talked to 3 fire chiefs, and the feeling I got was that trucks were more important right now than, and I don't know if he was one of the ones that needing a truck or not. Well, I don't know. That's the only reason I want your phone. I like to be able to call each chief and talk to them. And I talked to Ansel twice. First time to find out about the numbers. I talked with Ted a little bit about it, and
Okay.
one of these hard decisions on my part, 'cause I know we need both. But the trucks are can't do without, from my perspective.
Yeah. Ms. Bradford?
So what I feel would be best would be to go back and look, get the chiefs together, figure out how many trucks that you need, like need, not want, need. Get that price together of what would come out of your splosh. And, these would kind of be the same, but two, asking fors. So, because, I mean, I feel like they're both very important, but, I mean, knowing New Salem's trucks can't even come off the mountain, or, that's pretty scary. So, and if it takes 2 years, a year for it to get here, what if something happens in between now and then? So I say get the price of how many trucks you need, the same company, get a quote ready and come back with both the building in, because by the time the trucks get here, maybe the building would be up and ready, get more people trained. So to me, it kind of goes together.
The biggest thing's the money, though, the timing of the money as far as so.
Yeah, because once this money's gone, it's gone.
But we
And
do need to get some numbers, though, like you said, real numbers of, we know what the building is. The building's pretty well cut and dry, what you got.
Yeah, it's like 436.
But everybody has splosh money, right? Or somewhat some splosh money, so that would be taken off of the trucks. So it would be less 2 purchases, trucks and training center. And it seems like it's both needed, but we really don't have a number for those trucks.
Well, Robert, we need to move on here.
Well, I agree with it. It said agree with everything. I mean, it's a catch-22. First of all, if having a training facility would help to perhaps get and retain more volunteers. Because if you don't have volunteers, you don't need trucks, because you don't have anybody to drive the trucks, and you don't have anybody to put in fire. So it's all like a catch-22 to me. Because if somebody's gonna be a part of your fire department and they've gotta go every year for that training to Forsyth, Georgia, then that could keep a lot of good people out of it, because they just can't leave their family or leave their job and go. But I agree, the trucks would be more important, but they're again, not just having the numbers, but as splice come in, if everybody come in right now and say you needed 3 trucks for the whole, kit and caboodle, and you're talking well over $1 million, or, $1.2 million for, 3 or 4 trucks. But I do think that y'all as a fire department, because I don't put out fires, I don't, hope I never have to call you. But you do need to look at what do we need worse at the time. Because there's not a lot of money, you know, I talked about this 2015 splosh last month, there's not a lot of money in it. And actually, it's anywhere from 372 to 32,000 within the 7 fire departments. That I don't know why that money keeps sitting, and I don't like sitting on money. I don't like sitting on ARPA money. I don't like sitting on opioid money, because it is not money it's not taxpayer money in the sense that it's from county taxpayers. It's federal money that come down to us either through a lawsuit of opioid or the ARPA. And so I think we need to do what we need to do, but for the county, it is all important, but I agree with everybody else. Are the trucks more important right now than a training facility, or is it so tied up together that you can't separate the two?
Well, I'd like to ask y'all something, so we can go back and, I guess, do our homework if we table it until next month, just since we're gonna be talking numbers and we're gonna be talking trucks, and y'all know what's there. If we was able to get the training center down to, take some stuff out and do stuff and maybe half of what that is, do y'all see that possibly being a possibility of still getting some partial with training centers like the burn building and stuff that we can burn in?
The numbers will make the
certify they have
difference,
trucks?
that's why,
Yes, they will.
right there's gonna be the key, is get on the bone, get these real numbers that we can live by. If they guarantee the bid for 90, that whatever, and see exactly what that total is, yeah, if you can cut that half, you know, we can put it together, then we can say this something, because Rodney's already said, if we buy all the trucks we need, that's gonna more than eat the money up, the splosh money plus money. So, you know, we just need to see just what we're looking at money-wise.
Yeah, I mean, we can look at that, I mean, I understand completely, the only thing it's gonna take away,
Yeah.
maybe not mountain rescue, but like the sheriff's office and stuff, you know, they're not gonna be able to use it because it won't be a clean facility, but, you know, if that's what we've gotta do, that's what we gotta do, so.
Okay.
What was the total again on the?
It was 430, the total for 434.07, 434.37.
All right, I appreciate
We'll work
y'all.
on some numbers then.
Yep, as soon as you can, you know, get them way before the meeting and let us, you know, thrash it, look at that, okay?
Thank you.
All right. Let's move down to the AEDs for our storm shelters. Has Alex been working on that? Is that his, you know?
I think
I don't know where it come, well, I know, I'll say we did, and what brought it up was at the rec league, when you have all these kids in soccer and football, and then you have baseball going on next door. And I was asked, what if something happened, and they didn't have an AED there in anywhere close in the heat that we're in, and if somebody had a, you know, and needed one. So we did talk about it, and I asked Alex, I didn't have this put on here, but, and I think Don and I might have talked about it as well, that there need to be one, and it's gonna have to, I understand it has to be in a climate, at least,
Well,
can't
yeah,
be in a 110-degree building.
we got several of our public buildings here that's got multiple uses, multiple AEDs that's been in some trouble, and last time we had the full arrest in the jail, theirs was out of compliance. We had to go to the hallway and get it out of the hallway for his jailers did. I brought a proposal a year or so ago about putting them in every building that where public would be, that where they're at and things, and it was used with our life pack system that we currently use. So if somebody was attached to it, y'all approved some for South Dade Fire Department, y'all approved one a year or so ago for New Salem, that it hooks to the current systems that the ambulances use. So if you put the AED pads on them, when the ambulance gets there, they unplug them and replug it back into their system and keep pacing and keep going. A lot of times you got to tear those pads off and tear them back on, but it's through Stryker Physio Control. We inventoried every building, and that was one of those proposals we brought to y'all. And
Is New Home included on that?
it was every fire department, every sheriff's vehicle. A lot of times when these calls come out, our deputies are getting there way before first responders and the ambulance. And I've been in more scenes when I've seen deputies doing chest compressions as we were pulling up before ambulances, several of them. You know, the chest compressions only, they're just doing chest compressions to get there, especially with their current opioid issues. That's common. It's several a month we have of drug overdoses. I worked one Friday night and we had one because we had somebody out sick. Constantly just teaching them telephone CPR. Go between your breaths, just pump. If you don't feel a pulse, pump. So we looked at it for every patrol car, at least 1 to 2 for every fire department. And we looked at a smaller brand, better brand that would be in every public building with our public Wi-Fi. It would let us know if the batteries, it would do a self-check every day. So that was something that I brought maybe a year
But we
and a half
did
ago.
replace a few of them. We got, like this one in the hall was replaced with, because that's not the original one that was here in this
We
building. but-
replaced the jails,
Yeah.
because their jail, the one in the back for the jail for the inmates was bad, and we took the one out of the hallway. We had the full arrest, that's when we found it was bad. They went out to the hallway and got that one. And then I brought them another one,
I don't see
but we
any.
bought 3 just for that.
What's the
But it
cost,
would be-
what's the cost right now on average of,
There's
you know?
not.
2,500 maybe? I couldn't tell you, the latest ones we
Stacy
got was
got,
for.
Stacy got an amount somewhat lower than that from somebody, and that's why I came up. Who he talked to, first of all, said like putting it down in the, I guess the equipment room, whatever, down at Four Fields, where the restrooms are, at the football field. That's not controlled climate enough, it'd be too hot for it to
Well,
stay in there.
They
So
make containers for them and do them, but, we're looking at ones that work easy for EMS that keep going. When you're taking stuff off, putting it off, that's time. Time is such at the essence, and Physio Control is a brand that we deal with every day in life safety out here. It's what the 2 that bought for South Dade that y'all approved, New Salem's, and the last 3 we bought was Physio Control AEDs. They're called LifePak 1000s.
But as far as you know, there's not one on that whole complex down there, right? Okay. We need to, yeah.
I think they have one over there, yeah.
Yeah.
We were getting them all on the same thing for, when you start getting different brands, you get.
That's something we need to fix.
The original Philips we had, they quit making batteries for them. We had to go with something else, and we bought other ones. They, just like anything, I know y'all hate to hear, they don't last forever, and then you can't get pads for some of them. When you can't get pads, you had to start getting other things.
So it's not necessarily for the storm shelter, it's for the complex,
Whole
correct?
complex.
It would be there if they needed
You
it.
need a few. You would need something around the ball fields. You need something down there by the soccer football fields. You need to have something maybe around the playground area, because you got your tennis courts, your basketball courts, maybe the bathroom buildings, if you think that, or the concession building, or to me, you put them in locations that can be grabbed quickly and taken care of. And if somebody turns it on, it would alert you with our mesh system we have in all of our buildings, our public Wi-Fi, or even if somebody takes it out of the container and it turns on, it'll email us that it's been done, that you gotta, I'd hate to leave it out in the public because we got too much roaming out there, but.
No, we can't do that, but you need to go ahead and
Or
get
if it
some.
was in a building,
Yeah.
like if the coaches come in and they took it out, or if it was open and hung up on the wall and put back up and locked up in the end of the day, or it could be one of those things that if we could keep it under one of our cameras, we got a pretty decent camera system down there, but.
And then in the winter, could it be placed somewhere else, or?
Our bathrooms are heated.
They're heated.
So really, it
Keeps
needs to
them
be in the
freezing.
concession stand area and then the storm shelter.
But the shelter's not always open. That's the thing. If you're wanting to get somebody to get to it quick, that's the thing. They make secure things. As soon as you open the thing, it makes a loud alarm, and it can be tied to let you know that somebody's took care of it, and if the machine come on, there's different cases to hold them. Even if somebody was down there walking, or they were playing basketball or tennis or pickleball, and if you don't have it for them, it's.
And there's more and more people, seniors playing that pickleball too, so it's just
We
a
were
matter of
looking
time,
at we were looking at some of the CARES funding and the ARPA funding. That was some of the things we were looking at that would possibly help for anything. And that was one thing, because that's a big COVID thing. And then me and Lamar's talked about it, some of the opioid funds, because we'd asked for some of this in the past to replace a lot of our obsolete. But then, Matt was in dire need for South Dade, so he bought 2 of them, because sometimes it's an engine or a rescue.
Opioid.
And then New Salem got the first ones, I believe, a while back,
Yeah.
a couple of years ago, which. For them.
We asked Robin, and he said it would be. He thought, I asked Robin of that very question, and he said if it's okay for me to, I think it is.
The
For opioid?
Yeah, the opioid settlement money could be used for that.
You talking about the opioid funds?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it has to be.
Once we get that letter back telling us what we can.
But let's hold off on that one, okay?
Well, the question
There's a
was,
need
would
for
it
'em in
come
some of
under that? 'Cause
our public areas and our work area. We talked about the transfer station, you know, people being down there and happening, it could be in the office, because most time it would be controlled there. You never know if somebody was out. We were just thinking out loud when some of this funding was kind of being, when I was reading it, what it could be dictated for, what can we do to help our COVID situation, but also help every situation. And AEDs are a big
Because
part
there
of it.
also will come a maintenance agreement with those.
Yeah, they do come with maintenance if you get them. We usually get them, like those big machines that we got in Amazon are $38,000. And they come up, they have to be certified every year.
Yeah.
And that's part of what we pay for. When we bought them on a lease purchase over 6 years, and that was part of that when we purchased that. Every year they come up and they have to be certified.
Yeah,
That's a
we'll work.
requirement.
We get some, we need to get some, we need to take care of this down here, because there's a lot of
But,
more activity there than.
but we could also
everything
look at all the shelters. If you do have a lot of people in there, if they can hold up
Mm-hmm.
200, it'd be good to have them in there too, in case something, you just never know. I mean,
Would it
we could
be-
go on.
But
Would it
that's
be
just waiting to
good
happen down there because
If
of
we
the-
could put
the-
something on the outside where it could be used,
To me, the shelter at the sports complex is in a bad spot. It needs to be at the concession stand, the octagon, the bathrooms down at the other field, and maybe the other bathroom on the backside, because we got so many wide areas. That's too far to go.
Yeah.
At least three or
Yeah,
four.
four really.
Yeah.
So there's
And the
some,
other
Senior
bathrooms,
building now, so.
well, if you put
Still
one
need four.
at the bathroom by the basketball courts, the
Yeah.
octagon building,
Yeah.
the other bathrooms on the
Yeah.
backside, and
And
the
the
soccer.
bathroom and soccer fields, that'd be 4 down there.
is there some kind of a container, you saying it
Yes.
could be put in and then it's,
Somebody would have to break it or pull it. They
but
got,
I mean, it keeps them cool and, because what I was told that they, you know, in this heat we've had, 100, inside of a building, 100 and something.
or we got to come up with a
degrees.
solution that we require the rec league to take it out of a controlled environment and hang it on the wall when people's down there or something, or place them inside the bathrooms, one of the bathrooms. If you had a sign that was inside one of our heated, aerated bathrooms, it may work as well.
Well, those storm shelters, as we were talking about, you've already got some people coming at the most stressful time they've
They
ever,
do,
they've
whenever.
ever been. And maybe they've got a problem already, and that just sets it off, and you have nothing there. It'd be great to have one at least in them.
Yeah, the few times we've had to leave them open longer, we've had a lot of roamers coming in them. We got cameras that we watch. In Davis, we had a group going there and they were running and kicking around, and luckily the SRO was able to get over quicker from Davis and flush them out, but we opened them early, and then some boys walk up through the side of the woods off of the back street and got in there and start kicking around, hollering and screaming. Well, it alerted all of our team that somebody was in Davis, and that's how we monitor and watch it to make sure they're safe, because but you know, they were just kicking around. They didn't do nothing, you never know though.
That's right. Well, let's get some figures together, and see what our, you know, the latest cost is on these things, and get, since we can buy it out of this money too. I mean, we can spend that money on it, so. All right, let's move down to, our historic courthouse. Jamie Blevins, a report on that, on the project. See here, Cole? I didn't see you through there, sorry.
The other Jamie.
Yep.
So beginning with our budget status, we issued 2 new RFPs, one pertaining to masonry, which will fix the damage due to the vehicular accident on the south side of the building. And this will also include repairs to the brick that will be caused by the new storm drain going in. And we've also issued an RFP for concrete, which will pertain to the storm drainage, as well as provide a new set of steps for the north side of the building. Our construction schedule, framing and drywall is still ongoing, as well as in-wall electrical rough ends. Additional courtroom ceiling tiles have been ordered, and as soon as we have a delivery date on those, we'll let you know. And the exterior drain line that is next on the right side of the canopy at that lower entrance, we're waiting on pretty much like a manpower to get that going. I've got to meet with Mike Lawson either this evening, tomorrow to discuss that. I don't have any significant open items. And then for contract status, we have another RFP that's going to be issued in the near future, which includes doors and hardware. And we have reached out to one of our vendors that we use on a daily basis to help us with that. We've issued some samples to our historical committee and are waiting on some answers from that. But other than that, that's all I've got.
Are you gonna, put the water there, the drain, and it probably tie the elevator drain into it, I guess, right, or what?
It's the drain at the.
Where you go in the door,
right
yeah,
outside the
but are you gonna put it in, just in the storm drain outside?
Yes,
That's-
and it'll be outside.
that
We're gonna
wouldn't hurt a
upgrade that
thing.
To a trench drain
Yeah.
instead of that small drain, so it'll encompass the entire front of that door, so you won't have any water going into the space.
Exactly, yeah. What about the elevator drain? Where have you got it tied, you know,
I'm
that
not
pump, that
sure.
sump, and I know it's tied into that.
Yes, and it does have a sump in the bottom of it, but I don't know where it goes.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
Something to think about though, when you get a plumbing, when you get over there. Because the thing where they've got it tied into that, they've got that drain running into the sump.
okay,
And then the pump comes on, and I'm not sure where it went out. I'm not sure on that. But, you know,
we can definitely find that.
might double, yeah, because it might save some, some trouble down the line, you know. Yeah.
Is that a hydraulic elevator or is it a electric?
It's cable, I believe.
Electric. That's another good one we don't have to worry about then, because at the hospital I worked, we had hydraulic elevators. We had to have stuff for the oil. If they burst, they wouldn't, and filled the pit up, it wouldn't pump it out into a drain.
Right.
Any other questions? Okay, good report. Appreciate it.
We're still on track to finish by the end of the year.
End of the year, early 2024.
Yeah. All right, Miss Paula
All right.
Duval, come up and talk to us.
All right, I'm here to discuss the 2022 state audit that we had. There was some improvements from last year. You know, we had some issues last year. We appealed last year's audit report. The three numbers that we look at specifically, you'll find on, I think it's the third page. It's the fourth page, where it breaks down your four classes of property, and then it shows you the median, the COD, and the PRD. The median for residential properties and overall was at 3.8, so that's better than it was last year, so that has improved, that went up. Our COD is where we had the issue last year. When we appealed, it did come down a little bit, but not as much as we wanted, but it has continued to decline this year, so still a little bit over the acceptable range of 15. We're at 15.38 this year. So we're hoping by our 2023 audit, everything should be falling into place. So overall, better than last year, still hoping to get a little bit more improvement as we go along for the 2023 report. Anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
What'd you, on that 1538, where'd you say we needed to be at?
15 for
15.
residential. Yes. Anything under the agricultural, the commercial, that's 20. You can't be above a 20, the passing range. That's what's called non-homesteaded property. So anything non-homesteaded property is a 20 and below. So we're good on those. It's just that residential that keeps getting at us. And I know a lot of the counties, there was a webinar the other day where a lot of counties were still talking about this and still trying to figure out, statewide, what we can do for everybody to get passing ratios and audit reports. And so everybody's still working on it.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Paul. All right. All right, move down to number 9. This is our resolution R-33-23, amendment number 2. Dawn, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, let's see, number 9.
So this is our fiscal year end budget amendment. Rebecca prepared this, and you see that we have changes in net revenue, $100,000 at the top, and that's positive, an increase. But then at the bottom, it's also a redistribution of $100,000. So the delta is still 0 on that, but at least we did. Every department now will come in under budget, so that's how that works. They have to, if we chose, let's say we chose to let fire department go over, well, we're just gonna get written up for that. And then we have to fix it, and then we get 3 letters that we have to follow up with Department Audits and Accounts. So, you know, you have to fix these things for the departments. So, because the way we do the budgeting. And then then the last page is the different individual funds that we collect throughout the year. And so those are like your jail fund or your, I don't know, help me out. Yes, sheriff special fund.
Revenues and education.
Right. And so we can't really budget for those at the beginning of the year because we never know what fees are gonna come. These are almost all fee-based from the courts. And so we kind of have to wait till the fees are collected to determine how much they actually can spend. So it's a little backwards in a way, but again, they have to be approved of the governing body through a budget process. So that's the only way that we're aware we can do that. And you see those different funds. Fund 120 is 4,700. Fund 130 is 27,800. Fund 150 is 13,600. Fund 160 is 30,350. And that particular one's the jail fund, I think. So, and then the other funds just had a 0 change reflection. So,
Any questions?
So is this adding to our budget, or is it?
Page 3 is not general fund. Page 2 is, that's the general fund. And so we did add $100,000 to it at the top under revenues. And then but we didn't redistributed monies throughout, increases and decreases, depends on which way they needed to go, throughout on the expense sides of the different budgets. But the net is a 0 because 100 in, 100 out.
Page 30, is that all sheriff's department stuff?
No, we got the, let's see. I didn't bring my code. What's Fund 120?
Oh, I don't remember all of them. I know it's.
That's, I was just curious if they's all, or just the bottom
Victim
ones.
assistance is one, and that's collected at the different courts and, given out to 4 or 5 different agencies that's being
Right.
redeployed.
I know the jail fund's 160
That is.
and,
Victim assistance is the one.
Would be like the
Well,
judicial.
look at Mountain Task Force too, that, we
Judicial
get
task.
that, that's distributed between about 5 agencies. That's,
almost,
not a month
let's see.
in, huh?
Everything is judicial because even look at the local victim assistance fund, what is that, 150? Or is that?
Yes,
Yeah,
150.
is tied to fees that's collected through the courts. And so
Very
everybody.
specific what they can spend it on too.
Right, so everybody understands what that is when, you know, if you are in a DUI, for instance, and you're found guilty, then part of the court fines and fees is the state has assessed a DUI fee that divvies up, it depends on what that falls under. It could go to sheriff special fund, or it may go to drug abuse education fund, or whatever. And then, let's say it's some victimless type crime, the state has assessed a fee that it's mandatory. The judges, a lot of times, don't have a choice. They have to assess those fees. And then when the court clerks collect those fees, they're told exactly what fees get pinned first. And guess who's always at the bottom? It's the county. We're always at the bottom on that list, but we ultimately will get paid. It's just, you know, if it's restitution, we have to wait. So
Checks in the mail.
the checks in the mail. But yeah, they're all tied to the courts.
Okay.
So
Any other questions?
this puts last year's budget to rest, everything's.
Well, for now, the auditors will be here, and then if something, you know, if they find something that was coded wrong or whatever, it's possible. I mean, typically this does it. This will do it for the year. I think 2 years ago, we had to come back after the auditors were here and do one final budget amendment.
I
but-
think one, a reclassification or something made one go under.
Right.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, let's move down to number 10. This is our Resolution R-34-23. This is our GDOT Section 5311 grant for, actually it says 2025, but it's actually
Yeah, it's 2025.
2025, it don't even seem right to it, but
It is.
it is.
'Cause
So,
Yep.
it'll be, we do this, we've been doing it for years, that's a win-win for us, you know, as far as our vans, that's where we get our vans, so everybody fine with that, on the consent agenda, okay? All right, move down to number 11, this is our intergovernmental agreement between Dade County and the City of Trenton and the Board of Elections to actually hold the city's election for them, to provide election services for the 23 municipal election, which is coming up pretty soon. Any questions on that? Something we've been doing for a long time. You'll see. Okay, everybody fine with it? All right, put that on the consent agenda. Anybody got anything else that you want to talk about here before I adjourn? Okay, we'll go ahead and,
Just a quick
Do it.
question about,
do what now?
Don mentioned the audit coming up. Our fire departments, are they audited
Oh, sure.
in that?
Yep.
Oh, they what?
Anybody that's given the county funds is gonna be audited, included really every fund.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Robin, is there any reason that we can't let a person talk to us here at this? At the work session?
That's up to you.
Okay, come on up, Tim. Yeah, come on up. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah.
I didn't know how.
We give a 5-minute session in our meeting, and then sometimes, you know, that's when we got a lot of people here tonight. We don't, so you go ahead and talk to us in our work session if you want to, yeah.
Okay, I appreciate
Tell
it.
us who you are, where you're from and all. Not a lot of people, I guess, know you.
Well, I don't want my name in the paper. I'll just say I'm a resident of Milton Estates.
Yes.
And I've talked to a lot of the neighbors, and we have a growing concern about the STRs, the short-term rentals. A lot of people know them as Airbnbs. It's a growing problem in the area, and I don't know if any of my information is correct, but I gathered some information off of the internet, and it said, Verbo says we have 300 in Dade County. I don't know if that's right. I wish Paula was still here. She might know something about that or know how to figure it out. I don't know, but
I'd say that's probably a close number. Real close.
okay,
Yeah.
well, it's a big problem for us. Like in Middleton, we have several. We actually have 4. We have one that sleeps 16. Now, you guys know what Middleton is like. It's a quiet neighborhood. I mean, it's always has been up until now. We've got one that sleeps 16, and there seems to be nothing we can do about it. It's party, party, party all night long. We have had everything from race car drivers staying there, unloading their cars off the flatbeds, going to the race at Woodstock. We've had a golfer convention there. Last week there was an office party where the people from the office met there and slept together and had their meetings there in a house. So it's just bizarre. 3 or 4 in the morning, they're still up partying. Anyway, that's what we're dealing with. So what I wanted to do today is ask you, do we have any rules in Dade County? I've already checked. The state does not. Some counties have implemented some rules. And I have put together a list of those rules that other counties, it's kind of just a meshed up list of things that other counties are doing. Unfortunately, there's nothing on that list I feel that would help my situation.
Well, have y'all dissolved your homeowner association? Because I know there was one over there years ago. I remember when it was built and all that, so you let it go.
Well, there's
And
a
your
phase
rules.
1 and a phase 2. Phase 2 still has theirs. They have 1 in theirs. But phase 2, we would have to get an attorney and reinstate that.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much.
I tell you what, I'd do that. I mean, regardless, I would go ahead and get that back up and get it fired back up, get your chairman or whatever, and go through the Secretary of State and you need that in a place like most of our communities like yours have got them. I mean, whether they're locked communities or whatever, but I'm not saying this, but you need to do that, start with. Maybe not so much pertaining to this, there's a lot of things that you could do in the future, because there's a lot of changes and we're living in a different time.
Yeah, I know that.
People don't show respect like they don't have, a lot of people don't, for people, their neighbors, they don't. I'm talking about the people that own the houses. If they live in your house and you did that, they would be here feel just like you probably, but they're making money. That money is what,
Well, this particular house rents for $528 a night.
a night.
And so, but the thing is, there's the four. One's not a problem, but there's two that are small, on Mr. Cantrell's property, and he actually does a wonderful job. We never even know they're there. 2 or 3 people in the little cabin, or he has one up behind his house. They check in with him. He's vetting them right there. He keeps an eye on them. The other one, it's a telephone check-in. This guy, he calls them, they call him, he checks in, and when they check out. I don't know that for sure, but I don't think anybody meets them on the property. And I mean.
But the health department say if they're sleeping 16 people in there, she's got to get involved in it. We need some addresses. We need to see where these houses are, because there's an occupancy, rule, I mean, as far, and not just that, but I mean, even the health department, you can't have that many people. They don't go by bathrooms, they go by actually people that are staying bedrooms. If that's a 3-bedroom house and that facility is permitted for a 3-bedroom or 4-bedroom house, and you've got a 1,500-gallon tank with that, that's it.
But
So,
it's a 6-bedroom house with 3 baths, so.
Well, was it permitted for that though? That's something we need to look at, because it may have been permitted as a 3-bedroom house when it was built. And there's no way of tracking it, without knowing, like you come and say, look, there's people, how did you know? Is it advertised as a 6-bedroom house?
Yes, it's on Airbnb.
So that's all it takes?
Bookings, yes, and it says plainly 16. There's another one in Lake Hills, same situation. It's sleep.
I thought that's what you're talking about. Well, Lake Hills, where you at now?
Middleton.
Middleton, okay, yeah.
I don't know, what is your opinion of looking at some of these rules and see if you can't implement some of these things? Because, I mean, the guys were in here asking for fire trucks. They're in here asking for EMT equipment, and I'm sure the police department. We could implement some extra taxes on these facilities, and that money could go to these guys. I mean,
Is that in the city or the county?
it's in the county.
All of it's in the county.
I just say, do any of you guys have any of these properties?
No.
Nobody
I
in
wish
here?
I did.
It's $500 a day though, you
Making
might.
$500 a night.
And the bottom line is this, I am not gonna live with all that. There's strangers walking up and down the street constantly. I mean, I never know. I go out at 3 or 4 in the morning to let my dogs out, and it's just a whoopee all night long. I don't know who's there, who's walking through the woods. I have no idea what's going on. I'm not gonna live like that. And if there's no rules and it's just okay to do all of this, I can sleep 20 at my house. I'll be happy to do that. And that's not a threat. I'm just letting you know that, I don't want it to sound that way. I'm just letting you know I'm not gonna live like that. And it's something, has to change, or I'll just turn mine into one as well. The whole county, I guess, will be one.
Is the whole community, are they, I mean, you've got other people, behind you that access.
Everybody doesn't like it. Nobody likes it. Nobody, that's just, those are single-family dwellings in there.
Is it a homeowners association?
That's what we just asked, we talked about. She said it used to be, but not anymore.
And the other thing that everybody needs to think about too, when you got a facility or a house that sleeps 16 people, how long do you think it'll be before the federal government taps into that to put some of the people in it that they're looking for a place to put?
It'll happen.
It'll happen, and it won't be that long, because there's so many people looking for housing that it won't be long till it happens.
If you'll share those addresses with me, I'll get her downstairs, our health, and let her just look into it, because every one of those houses will permit a year, and so she can look and see originally when that house was built. Because I'm gonna tell you something, Philip will back me up on this. A lot of the property over there's a lot of houses that couldn't be built there right now because the percolation rate over there is terrible. I mean, if you got a 3-bedroom house nowadays, if you built a 3-bed, you're really lucky. I mean, over there, because it's just, a lot of the rules have changed. And most of those houses the most would have been a 4-bedroom that when they were built, when Doug Porter and them were living, when they built that, so.
And that is a really good suggestion, and I will do that.
Well, that's the quickest thing right now you could do. I mean, as far as making a dent in it. to do what you're talking about, it's something we need to look at. We've got,
That's
this is
what I'm
just,
asking you
yeah.
guys to look at these
Mhm. Yeah.
regulations that other states, look at implementing some taxes that might cut back on some of this, because somebody who's getting $500 a night should pay some extra taxes.
They are,
do.
they are paying taxes.
Are they? What
We do
kind?
get taxes from
Hotel
those.
tax.
$8 a night?
8%.
Oh, 8%? Okay, that's pretty good. How do you do
But
that?
they just put it in, they just add it into the cost, 8%. Wouldn't matter if it was 10%, they're just gonna add it in there and,
That's right.
yeah. And these
What-
people that are far are going over there, they don't care, You don't think about it when you go to Gatlinburg or somewhere and you lease a place or a vehicle, you pay it because, you're going to have a decent time, you take your family or whatever, so. But we've been collecting that for a while.
Okay. What about considering some zoning? Like I know, because Middleton is a subdivision in the county, we pay a little more in taxes. That's what I was told when I talked to Paula before.
No.
That's not true?
Not if you're in the county.
If you're in the county.
No, you're based
just-
on.
They said we were a special case. That's what I was told. Yeah, because.
Paula might have been running for office when she told you that, I don't know, she might have been politicking. too.
Well, I was complaining about the taxes because they're pretty high.
The best thing would be your homeowners association. That's what I would, get with your homeowners and figure that out. And then you could rule out having anybody in your home community through a homeowners association. I mean, other than that, there's really, we do get money off of it. The county gets a lot of good money off of the Airbnbs and.
Well, that's good to know.
And we are a touristy town because we have these beautiful hills and we have a county with a state park. It's pretty wonderful to come and stay here, so I don't see it going away anytime soon. So your best option would probably start up your homeowners association.
But zoning, when you mention that, I'll address that. That's been, over the years, been tried, to be brought in. But you try to get a petition of people that want zoning, and you'll be surprised that don't want it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it looks like my option is going to be to go ahead and start one myself, but okay.
No, you need to get me those addresses. You need to get me those addresses tomorrow. Because we need to address what's happening over there. Even if you start a homeowner association, these people right here they're gonna be grandfathered in.
That's exactly right. I knew that.
But if you don't do it,
Cut back.
what are you gonna do if 6 months from now, a year from now, and then there's 10 more? Start, at least you could, so that's something to work on. I really didn't know y'all had let that expire, I really didn't, I thought y'all did.
HOA, or did y'all just have covenants?
No, we had one.
had
I
HOA.
I think
So y'all had
there was actually two. That first section when you come in on Whispering Pines, they still have theirs. So they may be able to get rid of the one they've got. I don't know, or control it somehow. I don't know how all that
Is
works.
there anything in their covenants? Because when I done my subdivision, I put stuff in the covenants to keep it out. Whether they had a HOA or not, this is what you had to do. So is there anything in your covenants of the subdivision?
I did
It would
not
be on your-
look
it would
because
be
I
on your
didn't.
deed.
Okay.
That's right, it'd be an attachment to that
To
deed.
your deed, there will be covenants, as
Yeah.
how big of a house, how much you can build, can it be rented out, can it not be rented out? That's what I would look for.
Okay, I did not, I didn't look at that, so I will. That's a good tip. Okay, well, just think about,
Get with me tomorrow here at the office, I'm easy to find my, and I need to get that though, we need to look into it.
okay.
Because it's happened, and we had her at a couple other places, and she cut it in half because it's a Georgia law. I mean, you can't, the occupancy compared to your sewage, you can't, if it's permitted for a 3-bedroom house, that's it.
Especially if there's people staying, 16 people staying
know
every
it.
day.
I know,
Just listen to some of these reviews. Our 18-year-old travel softball teams and family stayed here. The outdoor patios were very nice to sit out and relax. Do you think they just sat out there and relaxed? That 18-year-olds, do you think that's what happened? There was so much space that our group of 16 never felt crowded. I mean, that I could go on, but I won't because I know that you got to go home and everything. But just
no, we got another meeting, we gotta get into a real,
okay.
we got.
You mean you got to go to a real meeting?
Yeah, this is what this is, that's why I got you up here, because this is informal.
Okay.
Our work session, I would've had to cut you off a long time ago, 5 minutes, and you could sit down.
Okay.
Here, that's why I didn't know really what you wanted, but
Okay.
that's the best thing.
All right, thank
Get
you.
with me tomorrow then, okay? All right.
Okay.
Okay, y'all got anything else? All right, let's go ahead and adjourn the work session, and we'll take about a 5-minute break, and then we'll go in our meeting. 7 o'clock meeting to order, which is a little after 7, but appreciate everyone staying with us through the work session. As always, before we get started, I'll ask Robert to lead us in the prayer and pledge of allegiance. Mr. Jones.
As we pray tonight, we want to remember our commissioner here on the end, Lamar, going through some little bit of problems right now that he can explain if you like, but remember him. Also, Don lost his mom, and it's been a tough year for him, but he's held up, and Don, our prayers are with you, and we'll stay with you, and we're here if you need us, and I know you know that. And of course, a lot going on in our world. People of Maui, most of us never been and will never get to Hawaii, but you just imagine what those people went through, and still ain't gonna go through it for a long time. We remember them. People of South Georgia and Florida with a hurricane and another one on its way across the Caribbean, that they hope and pray that it's gonna turn north and pretty much stay out in the, but a lot happening that will not affect me and it will not affect you, but it's affecting somebody just like me and just like you. So let's keep these things in our thoughts and prayers. Heavenly Father, we thank you for allowing us to be here again tonight, and we thank you for the citizens that have come. We thank you for the issues that are raised, and Lord, because it just shows us, Lord, that there's things going on that we don't know about sometime, but they're real to someone, and we just pray that you would help us if there's ways that we can, and that's why we're here, is to at least try to find ways that we can help the citizens of our county and whatever that need may be. Lord, we do pray for Lamar, and we pray that you would just continue to bless him with healing and recovery. We pray for Don and the loss of his mom and others in his family just in the last few months. And Lord, we know that it's been a great burden upon him, but you have helped him to carry it, and he knows that and witnesses to that himself. So Lord, bless everything we do, have done tonight, everything we will do, that it'll be for the betterment of our community, and that our citizens will be better for what we do and the decisions that we make. For all this, we give you praise in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Robert. This is a regular scheduled meeting. The Dade County Board of Commissioners takes place on the first Thursday of every month. Proper notice this meeting is given to our legal origin, the Dade County Sentinel. It's been posted in the hallway. At this time, I do need a roll call. Mr. Lowry.
Here.
Portland.
Here.
Vidal.
Here.
Bradford.
Here.
And Chair's present. Thank you. All right. Got anybody wants to come up and talk to us tonight? We do have that at the first of their meetings now. Anybody? Mr. John Huffman here tonight. Give you 5 minutes, John. Appreciate you being here.
I understand. It's actually my wife and I's 26th wedding anniversary today, and she asked me this evening where I'm heading off to. I said to the commission office to get laughed at. Wish me luck. My name is John Huffman, Dade County resident. Quoting from the August 23rd Sentinel, Ted Rumley then discussed, I wish we could put a gate up and control or draw a line and say, if you're from Oregon or California, whatever, you can't give $500,000 for that $175,000 house, an acre of land. It's really out of control. So these words were said by our county executive that he wishes he could gate off Dade and stop those from outside from raising land values, and nobody in the room called him out on it. Point number one, doesn't gating off Dade go against anything we are doing to promote Dade? Why is putting up gates to close off our county an okay, uncontested thought for many of you when taxpayers are paying for a county executive, 4 district commissioners, a communication director, an Alliance for Dade, a welcome center, the IDA and the JDA, all whose job is supposed to let people know about Dade County and even bring new people and businesses into the county? So to the world, are we promoting Dade, or are we spending money to promote while thinking we should really just gate ourselves off from the world? From the Sentinel, from the top of the commission, gating us off is apparently what everyone here is wishing for, right? Point number 2, you blame out-of-towners from California and Oregon for looking at us with their big wallets and being willing to pay $500,000 for property valued at $175,000. So you accuse them of raising land values beyond what locals can pay. It's out of control, you say. But is it out-of-towners that are really the problem, or are they just easy targets to deflect from what is really going on right out of this room? You don't think that our own Dade landowners who have Dade property only appraised at $53,000, who are listing it for $2.5 million, 50 times the value? It's those local Dade County landowners and not the people from California. It's those landowners here who are trying to fill their wallets. They aren't the problem. And you don't think that someone who is trying to get 50 times the money for their land is not hurting Dade County residents who might be interested in that property, but in no way can afford what their fellow neighbor is asking? Fellow neighbor, $53,000 and trying to get $2.5 million, 50 times what it's worth. That's not California greed or Oregon greed. That's 100% bona fide Dade County greed, born and raised. 50 times. That would be like you going to Subway for a $5 footlong and they want you to pay $250 for it. Would you all be happy about that? A $250 sandwich? You had better believe that Subway getting that wad of cash from you would be the only ones, so it's all about who is getting that money. And in case anyone was curious, and so you don't have to all look it up, the property that someone is trying to fatten their wallets with at 50 times the value is 0 Old Georgia 299 Highway. Q Public shows that it is appraised at $53,000, but there is an active listing on CryLike. 101-49502 is the MLS. And who are we talking about? Who is this landowner? Why, the Rumleys.
Amen.
Yes, the very person who made a public statement about everyone else raising the prices is doing it himself. So somebody in here has to know that a county executive who wants to gate off his county from the world has lost his way, and everybody in here just accepts that. And a county executive who blames our rising property values on everybody else when the person who is using this county for whatever he can stuff in his wallet is the person sitting here in front of you, and nobody says anything to stop it. Why does the entire room just sit back and let these things come out of his mouth without calling him out? Your job as the people is to hold elected representatives responsible, not let them get away with everything because they control your paycheck. I try to stay away from this place because it makes me sick. But somebody, even if it's that 24-year military veteran that fired you all, who has to give up time on his anniversary to come down here and get laughed at and his time wasted by people who will ignore him, somebody needs to stand up for the citizens you keep laughing at and everybody else you keep blaming, the Californians and the people from Oregon, when the real spotlight and the blame and the questions should be focused on the people in this room. You're not going to get away with throwing the blame and scorn on others for the exact same thing you are trying to get away with. Please, never talk about gating off anybody. And if that kind of talk happens again by public servants, somebody please stand up and question what the heck he is talking about. Don't support it by your silence or cover for him or anybody. And to the Rumleys, maybe you can consider lowering your asking price $1 million or $2 million, because this practice of inflating prices is really, like you said, out of control in our county. Please do better. And if you want to look it up, CryLike 101-49502. If you're interested in some property and willing to pay 50 times what it's worth, I know a guy. I hope everybody got a good laugh. If so, I have done my job tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, John. I appreciate that. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate your opinion. Okay? Oh, me. You got any questions for John? Where you going? Come here. We might have some questions, John. What are y'all so quiet for? I'm a bad guy. I mean,
For one, I don't want anyone blaming me for this anniversary, because I'm taking my wife on a cruise next month. I won't be here.
Oh.
So y'all
Good for you.
You can do what you want to, but I'm taking my wife on a cruise for our anniversary that we didn't get to do this in June, so.
Well, you know, that's okay.
I won't blame it on anybody.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. You'll wake up early tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
You feeling good?
Feeling good.
It's good to see you here, I promise you. I was worried you might not be here tonight. All right, let's move on to, District Commissioners Committee reports. Mr. Lamar Lowry.
Well, our call activity for August was 227 EMS calls. I forgot to put my glasses on before I started reading. 227 EMS calls. We had 350 fire department. And we were talking about AEDs tonight and stuff for our fire trucks, so that's one of the reasons why we're trying to get them in ever more locations than we've ever had them, because a lot of times the police and the fire are there before our emergency services are. So, and they got a lot more, nearly double the calls that they had, so. We had 2,675 police calls, and that includes Dade County, Trenton, Lookout Mountain, Georgia State Patrol, and Georgia Probation, for a total of 3,252 phone calls to our 911 center. That's up a little bit this month, and August is a long month. I always like to brag on everybody, and I'm afraid I forget somebody, but I can say emergency service and cover a large group. You don't realize how bad you need them until they're not there, or when you're I was sitting on the front porch with my dad, waiting on the ambulance to come back into the county, so we're doing everything we know to do, so. And it's that important. One time, me and Philip were talking about, how do you know when you've adequately funded the departments? Well, if you can look down, if it's your child, your mother, your brother, dad, whoever, your close family member, and you know you've done everything you can do to get them help, I think you can feel good about the way you supported the 911 services. So we had 19 new E911 addresses. I think Philip will follow up on that. A quick health report, because I've had so many blessings and so many phone calls and cards coming in, and it really means a lot. Had a couple people here tonight shared their cancer survivor stories with me, and that always helps. Let somebody know that they've been through it, and there is hope out there. I have pancreatic cancer, and questionable on my liver or not, but the doctors feel that I will have a good outcome. And so I need continued prayers for that. And don't know of anything more important. But one person I want to single out, and he don't know it, is Don Townsend. He lost his mama, and at the time I hadn't started my chemo yet, so I didn't know what I was facing. And I knew him and Lisa's mine and Robin's schoolmates. We all graduated together, but I felt enough comfort and need that I contacted Don just a day or two after his mother passed away. And he called back, and we talked. He went over a lot of stuff with me, so I would know more of what I was getting into and tricks of the new regiments that I was getting. And it's something that you won't forget, I'll tell you that. So, thank you, Don. Love you for what you did. That's it.
All right.
And thank my commissioners. Y'all all checked on me and let me know if there's any way you can help me. So I don't want to miss anybody, but
We appreciate you, Lamar, and we pray for you every day. So, just
Mr. Hartline? Okay, at the sports complex, there is some baseball practicing and playing games. Football's practicing, they've been playing games at the high school. Soccer's practicing, they're gonna start games next week. The parking lot for the soccer and the football parking will be shut down for sealing and striping until Monday. That's on the sports complex. Electrical inspections for last month, we had a total of 32. 11 of them is new construction, 10 of them remodeling, 5 is mobile homes, 4 shops, garages, and 2 from storm damage. So from what I've been seeing, we're running about 8 to 10 to 11 new homes or new constructions a month, every month. So the census, like I keep harping on the census saying we're not growing. I don't see that because we're having this every month. I do want to add, it's been a couple of papers ago, in regards to what John was discussing earlier. I had a buddy call me and say, hey, you might want to read this. It's like I was offended by everybody's property values going up. I was not. When I voted no on the millage rate, it is due to homeowners paying more for their property, on their property taxes. It has nothing to do with what it's worth. My father told me one time, and it's worth exactly what you're willing to give and what somebody's willing to take for it. That's the value of land. So I don't care if you've got a $50,000 house worth $5 million. If you can get it, I am happy for you. I voted no because of the property taxes going up. Has nothing to do with people moving in, has nothing to do with what you can get for your house. It's simply that reason there. And that's all I have.
All right. Mr. Goff.
All right, I always like to report on SPLOST, but when I looked at the SPLOST and loss this time, my heart fluttered on me because it's $463,570. And I thought, man, I hope it stays way up there, but Don's already informed me, and he will explain this a little later, that there was something that the DOR had done and they come in. Now, the mayor's back here smiling from ear to ear because lost, I usually don't even mention it, was $365,438, but that's what the county got, and the rest of that $463,000 went to the city. So always, as we say, we shop at home. It's just hard to believe sometimes that much money is generated in our county, because remember, that's 3 pennies, because the school gets 1 too, and it's the same $363,570 for their buses and things that they must do. So it looks real good, even though it was a one-time thing. We'll take it one time, or we'll take it 12 times out of the year. The other day I was looking at something. I learned about it a little over a year ago and probably voted for it back in 2018. There was a state referendum about taxing sporting goods in our state. And this money would go to recreational things, not our rec league football things we've already talked about tonight, but it would be things exactly like we've talked about and are still talking about, believe it or not, with the Sales Lane property and what we want to do over there. So I brought it to Don, not that I had to, but I made sure it got to Don's attention. And what I am suggesting to him and whoever, that these are grants from that money. And when you look at the ones they let out, they're not letting out a lot of grants because counties don't know about it. But they're very substantial. Some of them as much as $500,000, and even the state parks, some of them as high as $5 million that are going to them. So what I'm suggesting is that we get on top of this and we get some of that in here, because call it what you want to, I call it green space, because they're disappearing. And we've got about 61 acres over there. You can launch a kayak or a canoe. You can go swimming, you go fishing. So many things that can be done with that property, and this is to help us. So that's just why I wanted to mention it tonight.
And mention that event, we've not been talking about it a lot because we're kind of waiting to see how our pumpkins do. But
I actually had a person ask me today.
We're hoping that they'll get big enough. And we're gonna have a little free.
I went and looked at them. We may be giving away blooms. There's a lot of pumpkin blooms
Little kids
on them.
don't care though. Little kids don't.
I didn't say pumpkin number 1, but there's a lot of blooms on there. But also we're talking about hoping for a corn maze and the cornfield that's there. It's about, what, 20-something acres. It'd be a great big maze. I don't think it has
It
to be
won't
that
be no
big.
20-acre
We
maze.
never would get them out of there, and when they
Mainly
got lost.
for children, you know.
We'd have to have 911 standing by, Alex, just to hunt people that are lost in the maze. But that's some of the things we're looking at this year. Hope it can be pulled together. Those things usually happen around Halloween, the end of October. So there's things that has to be done, and we'll promote it a little more if it gets to, and if not, it'll give us a chance to look at it, know exactly what we need to do in the future. But we do need to start working on that property. It's there, and even though we're keeping a gate, because we don't want people going down, we don't want them getting stuck, we don't want them down there hot rodding around, but it is an open gate. If somebody wants to go down, walk around that property today, you can go through the small gate. It's got a chain, but it is not locked. So, and the last thing I want to mention there, in talking about splashed and lost, the new class of SLTC just came in, and I think it's one of their larger classes they've ever had. Now, this is a big boost, because we don't think about it. Those guys and ladies, they eat some of our fast food about every day. You'll see them nearly every time you go into one of the grocery stores. They're eating, so they add a lot. And the reason I say that is sometimes people say, well, what good? It's just a traffic jam. I'll take that traffic jam for the benefit it does to Dade County, because we can't help, we got one road in and one road out, but we'll live with that as long as we have to. And those guys are not only that, they're getting a great education for a great job, including their CDLs and all that goes along with that training. So that is a big boost to Dade County, and I'm glad for one that they're here, and this is one of their larger classes I think that they've had. So,
Yeah.
thank you.
Ms. Bradford?
Well, I had things I wanted to say, but that really bothers me, and I just want to put it out there. We get emails about these sort of things, but that man has never come to me and want to work on a program or work to make anything better. And I would like to say that it doesn't bother me and that it doesn't disturb probably the rest of us, but it does. The emails are truly bad, and I have put out there many times that you give me a call, I'll work on a project. I will get dirty and get the job done. And for somebody to come up and say terrible things through emails, through this office, and be able to be put out there the way he is put out there, it really disturbs me, and it really bothers me. He's out on social media. Things come back to me all the time. People saying, "Oh well, John's saying this, John's saying that." Most of it is not true. Maybe here and there he might have a few things that are true that is said, but most of the time is not true. Please, anybody that has a question or wants to talk, whether we don't agree, we don't have to agree, but we could have a conversation and we can make this town better instead of making things worse. And that's all I have to say. Just really gets to me.
That's all you got to say?
It makes me
I
really
know, it gets your mind
emotional.
off that negative and get, we've got a lot of positive things. It don't, you say it don't bother me no more. I put up with this every day, not just with him. I put up with, and when you're here, you gotta take, I love old John Dade, he's a person, I pray for him a lot.
Yeah.
He's always talking about he hates my guts for something. I don't know, I've never done anything wrong with, bad to him. But he don't like me, and that's okay. I got people that don't like me, but I got a lot more people that do like me that don't like me. And the same with this commission. If they think take a look at what we've done in the past years. We're doing our job. Somebody's doing their job, so I'm not, he's got his opinion, and that's good. And I didn't even know my family was asking for that property up there. We told a real estate company to sell it and get what they could at it, and so. But I don't have to answer to him,
Well, we're in the same boat. We just sold my family's property, so it's.
Yeah, it is what it is, and we got, it takes, my dad used to say, it takes all kind of people to make the world go around, you know, you just accept it and go on, you know, but anyway, but I appreciate this commission, and I appreciate Dade County. Man, what a place to live in, you know? Everybody's got their own way of thinking, you know, but all in all, we live in a good place. We got some good people here, and we got a lot of good people. I don't even remember saying that about the gate. I thought I was talking about the only gate I talked about was 2 gates we bought to put cows down there in the bottom, but I might have said that, I don't know. That don't even sound like something I'd say. But anyway, we had a month. Robert touched on it. We've all touched on it. It's been a real sad month for us here because, you know, of the Lamar. Don not only lost his mom, his wife, you know, just a few months ago. So we've been down, you know. We've had a lot going on. You know, we got that more report on here, but still, though, sometimes it's hard to get your mind off of the negative that we've had here, you know, and sadness. But we've had. I'll go from that into something positive, which Robert, I asked him to touch on it, but we've got this place over here, and Mr. Hartline has put corn over there, and of course you notice he didn't do all the whole thing because we want to start trying to have events over there, especially in the fall, and we're not sure how the corn done good, but not sure how these pumpkins are going to go because we've had rain, but we've had a lot of heat. And hopefully, you know, we will have, the pumpkins will come on in. They might be a little bit late, but we want to have some free events for some of our little smaller children to go over there and just have a good day, you know, our Davis and Dade and our little kindergartners and let them bus them over there and have a little day morning trip and get their little pumpkins and stuff. So we want to try to start that and this year and see what happens. And then hopefully we're going to get it won't be a 20-acre maze, but it'll be a little corn maze over there going in and just have a good evening over there too, you know, for people to come free, you know, because it's our land, it's your land, it's Dade County's land. So we'll keep you up on that, but I didn't want to get, none of us did, get you all built up on it and then something happened because you never know how things are going to happen as far as crops go. So, but we'll be reporting on that in the next few weeks and hopefully it'll work out. We got another notification the other day, or day before yesterday, and it was they are doing another mandatory drop on rabies. It's something a lot of people take for granted, you know. That's something you don't even think about. But we've had a really a lot of reports here in the last since January this past year, and they're actually they're extending this thing. They're starting actually down below Birmingham with the drops, and they're covering that region all the way up and making their bend into Dade County and going all the way across North Georgia, all the way to Rayburn County, and then hitting the Appalachian Trail, and they're going all the way up. It's showing it all the way to Maine because there's been that many cases reported positive. So it's a big deal, and this is federal people, and of course it's state. They're involved in it too, our state health department. That's who notifies us, but. They're making a big effort because rabies is bad. If you don't believe it's bad, you Google it, you know, and it's bad news. If you get bit, you know, it's almost a death warrant right then because if you don't get those shots, it's bad news. So anyway, so if you see these things, we posted it out here, and I'm gonna let and Carrie's supposed to be putting it online, and then I'll get this to the paper if you hadn't already got it. It's got different pictures of these things that you might find laying in your yard or out in your field, and there's 3 different types of these things they're dropping. So, and it tells you what to do. The main thing is don't touch them, you know. But just keep an eye out for it, and it's gonna. And I found some about 2 years ago. And I didn't know what they were out in the field, but the animals eat them, and it actually, you know, makes them immune or whatever. So anyway, we've also this month we've had more complaints about our road closings and all that's going on with our power companies and all that's in here putting these poles up. And I said this last month, these people are going to be here at least another year and a half, and they've got hundreds of poles that's replacing throughout our whole region, whole county. And there's 4 or 5 different crews in here working. They do notify our 911, you know, we're aware, you know, when like the fire and police and all is notified, but still though, every morning it seems like, you know, like Bird's Chapel was set down, you know, yesterday, and those people didn't know. Now, they're really nice to work with you to try to get you through, but if they've got a roadblock and there's no way around, you're gonna have to wait till that truck does its thing and gets out of the way. So, so just try to work with these people, because it's temporary, even though it's gonna be a pretty lengthy, but it's for the good. We're gonna start our paving, hopefully, if not next week, week after next. That's something we'll kind of bring you up to date on my little Thursday talks I do, and kind of tell you how that goes and what roads we'll be working on, and as a precaution, you know. The DOT, been on the phone back and forth with them. I reported on this last one. We still have got traffic issues, and it's not something that's gonna be simple to fix. They've got engineers looking at different scenarios that they want to do, based on, of course, our north end up here, and even down here at this red line. Down here when everybody's turned out in the schools and the lineman schools and all, and if you've not been in it, then you don't really realize what I'm talking about. Most people have been, and it's really amazing how it backs up. 299 up there, same thing. It's the other day, I came from across the river, been over, and Dade County goes on into Coal City over, and I came back Coal City, and I was gonna go 299, and it took an hour, because I evidently had an hour to go from that point just to get to Highway 11. Actually, it's a little over an hour, that short stretch there, because of traffic, and it was that way for over half a day. So anyway, they are working on that. That's not something we can make happen in the county. We can offer our advice, but they're gonna do what they're gonna do, the state, because it is a state highway. Railroad, we have finished our roads now, the two emergency roads up here, Clark Street, those people now can get in and out, and we can get into them with a fire truck and ambulance. That truck, they finished that just a little while ago, on the end of it there. And up at Belk Road, the only thing we like on that, they're able to use that emergency road now, but we've got 2 gates that we are putting up there, because the railroad requires that, because it is strictly for emergencies. It's not an open county road. And those people are just tickled to death. It takes a worry off of them now, you know, that if a train is blocked, we can get into them, or even school kids, you know, they don't have to, you know, they know they can go out and meet them at the road and not hand the kids through the train. So, but that's pretty much, you know, everything this month. I have attended a few meetings, you know, with Zoom meetings with GDOT and all, and it all pertains to what I've been talking about, are the bridges, the scheduling of the bridges. We've got a quarterly meeting coming up. I can report back to you next month on that. Will give me exact times and all on when these things are going to happen on the bridges. Y'all got anything else you want to say before we go into the meeting? Okay. All right. All right, I'll move on down here to number 4. This is our appearance to Miss Sandy White. She's with Alliance for Dade and Chamber of Commerce.
Good evening. Good to see y'all, and just wanted to comment. We saw quite a few families coming in for the orientation for the Lyman School last week, so they're very appreciative and really like the community, and several of them were saying that they would be back several times before their son or daughter is finished. So, so we are seeing a lot of those visitors. Also, too, you have at your place the newest issue of Georgia Great Places, and about the middle, we have a new ad, and so that's just come out. So just wanted to show you that. And we've got coming up some webinars. Got one on business sustainability, some exit strategy for businesses who looking at retirement, a different kind of restaurant, ghost kitchens, and how to write a dynamic business plan. Those are available on the county calendar, or on that, you can click there for that webinar information. Also, too, the residents, we had 51 residents in August come in the visitor center, also 69 visitors and 36 calls. And we've got some new banners up. The city's been working with us on that. The street department has been putting those up. So what we're trying to do, these are banners that that have historic buildings on them. The artist is Heidi Wilson, a local artist here in the county. And so those particular banners will be up when we don't have a event going on. The next banners to go up will be for the New Salem Mountain Festival. So we'll change those out as they come and just give some brightness. Then also too, at the end of the month, we will work with the Tree City Committee and do new planters around the poles that do not have the banners. So, and then we'll have a little tag on the bottom of those that will kind of promote local staying, shopping, eating, dining, that kind of thing. So some of the events coming up, we have the Groovy, a lot of things going on this weekend. The Groovy Nomad has an event on Friday night, and then we have the barbecue contest on Saturday. We also have Lookout Lavender has an event coming up on Saturday as well. And all through the month of September and October, we've got caving guided tours available again at Cloudland Canyon State Park. The 23rd, we've got two events going on, the Your State Parks Day on the 23rd, and then also the third annual Beautiful Broken Women's Conference, and that is a hand-up ministry conference going on. And then at the end of the month, the Lookout Mountain Flight Park, the Wingman Weekend is back. And then we also have registration going on right now for the Dade Expo. And so anybody who's interested in that, arts and crafts, they can register online at alliancefordade.com. Also too, the second segment for Dade County aired on Channel 3, 3+U today, and we have got it on Facebook, so you can, if you didn't catch it, you can see it there. So it was a really good segment. The next two segments coming up will be in October, and that will be on the 4th will be the Alpaca Farm, Rosie Mays up in Wildwood, and then on the 25th will be one on the Military Museum. So again, those are ways we're promoting the community, and so they're real good segments. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Good report. Thank you. Yeah, we appreciate it. Okay. All right. Online presentation of Dade County Public Library. What we got, Carrie? So they're not doing actually a Zoom or anything. Okay. All right, let's move down to C, UGA Extension, Dade County, online presentation, same thing. Okay. I knew they were awful quiet in here. All right, move down to number 5, our monthly finance report, presented by Don Townsend, County Finance Officer. Mr. Townsend.
All right, let's go ahead and do the balance sheet first, or the, balance sheet report there. Our balances report. As of August 31st, 2023, the general fund had a balance of $938,225. General fund certificate of deposits on hand was right at $1.5 million, and that is now a balance of $2,438,225. Sheriff's Special Fund has a balance of $4,322. Drug Abuse Education Fund, $8,412. Supplemental Juvenile Services Fund, $28,932. Victim Assistance Fund, $1,878. And Jail Fund, $9,293. So those are the funds that I couldn't remember the codes a minute ago for. The 120 is Sheriff Special Fund, 130 Drug Abuse Education, 140 is Supplemental Juvenile Services, and 150 is Victim Assistance Fund, and 160 is the Jail Fund. Anyway, American Rescue Plan is the ARPA funds. You see we still have a balance of $1,207,504. Accommodations, hotel, motel tax, currently have a balance of $268,692. employee flexible spending account has a balance of $14,866, and payroll account has a balance of $70,344. 2015 SPLOST funds still has the balance of $97,160, and projects account for the new SPLOST is $99,452, and the proceeds account is $2,517,823. And that's that. Now, on this month, we have two financial statements. We do this every September board meeting. You'll find one at the top dated July 31st, and I'll go ahead and do that one since it's up. And then the other's dated June 30. So as of July 31st, 2023, this ends our first month into the new year's budget, the FY24 budget. The revenues for the month of July came in at $589,035. We'd budgeted $573,506, so we were excess funds of $15,529. Those are the same numbers for a year to date, since there was just 1 month reporting. And under expenses, you see we have $1,224,337 that was that actually came in. We had budgeted $1,333,252. So we were under budget for the month by $108,914. And again, same numbers because it's year to date. So budget attained so far should be right at 8.33%. Revenues attained were at 4.12%, and expenses attained were right at 8.44%. And just to kind of give you an idea about that, revenues, you see it's almost half of what should have been as far as budget attainment, and that's because there's very little taxes in Dade County paid, property taxes paid in the month of July, and same thing for August and September. September, some will start coming in, but October and November, that will pick up greatly as far as the next year's tax rate goes. All right, so now let's go back and look at June. I want to take this moment to look at June. This is how, this is for the entire year, June 30, 2023. And now that September has come, that means the 60-day window has closed, and the state requires us to leave it open for any outstanding revenues or expenses that may have posted for that period. And we're talking, this is looking at fiscal year 23. Pretty much, it's the summary. We can't say for sure these are the final numbers till the auditors take a look at everything, but it's going to be pretty close. For the month, we've already kind of looked at the month in the prior reporting, so let's just focus over at the fourth column, and that's the year-to-date figures, the YTD at the top. You see for the year-to-date, for 12 months now complete, we collected $13,265,511. We had budgeted $13,415,000. So, that is short, $149,488. And so you see that's why the budget came in at 98.89%. I don't think we have, do you know if we have anything for prior year? We might have something, but it's not going to make a huge difference. So it would probably get us right at 99%, which is, 99%, that's pretty good. When you're thinking about I always call it like the bullseye. We hit the outside ring of the red on the bullseye, so not right dead center. But anyway, looking at expenses, $13 million for the year, $13,589,039. We had budgeted $13,665,000. So again, that came in under budget, $75,960. So that one was right at 99.44% of 100% attainment. And So that's just a snapshot. I mean, it's a pretty good snapshot, but just hold on to that one. If you hold on to any reports, that's the one to hold on to for the future. Getting back to local option sales tax. So we did receive a letter from Jonathan Ussery, which is the director of the Department of Revenue. I believe all counties must have received this, at least the counties that were affected. And so I'll just read the letter. At the Department of Revenue, we continuously evaluate opportunities to enhance agency systems and processes. Last year, we implemented an upgrade to the department's integrated tax system. The upgrade from version 10 to version 12 provided several enhancement features and programming modules updates, including improving the customer experience through navigation, efficiencies, and reporting. The department later discovered a coding issue with the upgrade, which impacted the sales tax revenue process from September 2022 through August 18th, 2023. The specific coding change caused certain return revenue transactions to be excluded from revenue collected and distributed. We have worked diligently with the Department of Revenue's integrated tax system vendor, FAST Enterprises, and other state agencies to identify the problem and solution. The department has implemented the coding solutions for all future distributions and will correct impacted prior distributions in the August distribution, which will occur August 28th, 2023. And so for Dade County, the lost portion that we received in addition to what we normally get is $134,586. So that's why we collected lost local option sales tax, $365,438.94. That is the banner month for the last 10 years. So that explains it. Now, without that amount of $134,586, we really collected for that period $230,852, which is down a little bit, but looking back from August last year, it's down a little bit from August last year, but it's up for all prior years. And so again, I think that explains why that happened. And it didn't go down much. I think August typically is one of those months that's down. And you remember, Department of Revenue funds come in 2 months late. So let's see, August, September, June, and this would be for June. Sales at the counter merchant level in Dade County would have been for June. So, kids got out of school and I guess everybody's at the pool or on vacation. I don't know. So looking at SPLOST revenues, we collected in the bank $463,570.47. That's why Robert Goff popped right out of his shoes when he saw that. He was excited. But again, the difference was $166,355.12. That's the money that we got separately, or was collected and put in separately in this amount. So really, the net, what we collected at the merchant level was $297,215.35. Again, it's a little bit less than last year, but is better than prior years, looking back at August of the past. So, and very healthy, I might add. So I hope that kind of helps explain why that was up, but hey, we'll take it. 2021 SPLOST tracking worksheet is located next in your packet. There's no surprises, no major expenditures so far this year. In fact, we've only spent $84,131, which is reasonably low for 24 expenses. But anyway, that'll probably pick up in the fall after paving kicks in. And then also the 2015 SPLOST tracking worksheets in there as well. I will, since this came up at the workshop meeting, you see that the most of the fire departments still, we have $63,924. I did ask them 2 years ago to spend that money, and they have not spent that money. So, you know, I mean, we're patient, but the auditors this year, the CPAs, are gonna, there'll probably a note in our financial statement, because we've had this now for 24 months. And they're really gonna start kind of wanting to push us to clear that. And there's really no way to, you can't put it in a reserve account. So we're just we need to try to expedite that as soon as possible. The only one that's significant means is New Salem, which does have $32,927. Now, 2015 SPLOST, if you remember the reporting a minute ago, it was 97,000. So there's about 64,000 outside of New Salem's. If we took the rest, because there's, you know, moderately small amounts, reasonably small amounts, we could take that and apply it to the building, if you so chose, or the truck purchases, if you so chose. I mean, so there is some extra money. I mean, that's not extra money. It's just leftover money from those, but those would be qualified expenses because they were listed originally on the 2015 SPLOST for us to purchase fire trucks and such. So it's just an idea, or buildings. So it's an idea that you'll have about $60,000+ there available, leaving New Salem.
That's combined, the total.
It's leaving New Salem's alone. If you included New Salem's, it's $97,000. So that would almost pay for, I mean, that with the $275,000 per SPLOST would almost pay for a truck. It wouldn't be quite there, but you'd be pretty close if he quoted $350,000 to $400,000. So it's just food for thought. And then the last report is the tax commissioner's report, and you know, not looking great this month, but hey, it'll pick up in a couple of months. It's at 1.68%. She did collect $104,881, and the lion's share of that is TAVT taxes that's collected through the purchase of vehicles in Dade County, or by Dade County citizens. So 1.68 is the percent out of that 6.2 million. That concludes the report.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Townsend? If not, I'll entertain a motion to approve our financial statement as presented. I have a motion.
Motion to approve is read.
Okay, Mr. Goff, I have a second.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Hartline. Call a vote. Mr. Lowry.
Yes.
Mr. Hartline.
Yes.
Goff.
Yes.
Ms. Bradford.
Yes.
And Chair votes yes. Thank you. All right. Reading of the minutes for last month's regular meeting and any special call meetings will not be required since all commissioners have been furnished copies in advance. Minutes are public record and available for view in the county commission office. The minutes are included in the consent agenda. This time I'll ask Mr. Townsend to go over that, our consent agenda, and we will entertain a motion pertaining to that.
All right, we have the approval of the agenda as presented, the approval of previous meeting minutes, review of personal status report, the proclamation for Childhood Cancer Awareness Month for September 2023, a proclamation for Library Card Sign-Up Month for September 2023, a proclamation for Adult Education and Literacy Week, September 18th through the 22nd, 2023, let's see, Historic Courthouse Restoration Project Report as reported by Cole Atkins, Resolution R-33-23, Amendment Number 2 for the fiscal year 2023 budget and other funds as presented. Resolution R-34-23, FTA Georgia Department of Transportation, Section 5311, fiscal year 2025 grant application for public transportation. And the intergovernmental agreement between the Dade County, the City of Trenton, and the Board of Elections to provide election services for the 2023 municipal election cycle.
Okay. Any questions or corrections? All quiet now. All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to approve our consent agenda. I have a motion.
Motion to approve.
Okay. I have a second.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Bradford. Call a vote. Mr. Lowry.
Yes.
Hartline.
Yes.
Mr. Goff.
Yes.
Ms. Bradford.
Yes.
Chair votes yes. Okay. Robin, you got anything? I didn't want to leave you out there, son. I just, I'll wake you up. I think you nodded off on us over there, but, don't have any new business. Y'all got anything else you want to bring before the board, the people?
Well, the only thing I got to say is I forgot to say thank you for the blessings for the one that matters most, and that's God. Just always remember him first in everything we do.
Yep.
A lot of blessings. I couldn't, after I sat down, got to thought, thinking about it, I thought I left the one most important out, and he should be the one first, so.
Yep.
Thank you.
And number 2 is Kathy.
Yeah, I
She's
forgot
your
more about
she's your
Kathy.
caregiver. I won't
Told me
forget the
other night,
caregiver.
I think it was Don told me the other night, when we were talking, he said, you need to get her a trophy.
Absolutely.
Of course, I thought it was me that he was talking about.
All right, I appreciate everyone. We're back got an empty room. Appreciate everyone staying with us tonight, and I appreciate my commissioners and all the people out there that support us. We really appreciate you. And if there's no further, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I have a second.
Second.
Call a vote. Mr. Lowry.
Yes.
Hartline.
Yes.
Mr. Gall.
Yes.
Ms. Bradford.
Yes.
And Chair votes yes. Meeting adjourned. Thank you.